रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी 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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरस्य श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन विविध संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरस्य श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की। गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी की, कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की, कलयुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशन बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, श्रीधाम मायापुर धाम की, ताई गौ प्रेमानंदे। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठभूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 3 चैप्टर 4, चैप्टर एंटाइटल्ड विदुरा अप्रोचेस मैत्रेय। टेक्स्ट 27। श्री शुक उवाच इति सह विदुरेण विश्वमूर्तेः गुणकथाया सुधया प्लावितोपाः गुणकथया सुधया प्लावितोरुताप। Kshanam iva puline yamasvasustam samushita aupagavairnisham tatogat iti saha vidurena vishvamurtehe Gunam kathaya sudaya plavitorutapa Kshanam iva puline yamasvasustam Samushita aupagavair nisham tatogan Iti saha vidurena vishvamurtehe Gunam kathaya sudhaya plavitorutapa Kshanam iva puline yamasvasustam Samushita aupagavir tatogat Sri Shuka Uvacha Iti saha vidurena vishvamurte Mataji's Sri Shuka Uvacha Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Saha, along with Vidurena, Vidura, Vishvamurte, of the universal person, Gunakathaya, in the discourse of transcendental qualities, Sudhaya, nectarian, Plavita, Urutapaha, overwhelmed by great affliction, Kshanam, moment, Iva, like that, Puline, on the bank of Yamasvasuhtam, river Yamuna, Samushitaha, passed on, Aupagavi, the son of Aupagava, Uddhava, Nisham, the night, Tataha, thereafter, Agat went away. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away. Purport. The word used here for Krishna is Vishwamurti. Both Uddhav and Vidura were in great affliction because of Lord Krishna's departure. And the more they discussed the transcendental name, fame, and qualities of the Lord, the more the picture of the Lord became visible to them everywhere. Such visualization of the transcendental form of the Lord is neither false nor imaginary, but is factual, absolute truth. When the Lord is perceived as Vishwamurti, it is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but he becomes visible in the same form everywhere. Srila Prabhupada ki. So I seek blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas, senior devotees. And yesterday we had a very, very inspiring ceremony where His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was awarded with the Bhakti Vedanta degree by the Mayapur Institute, and it was a very stunning moment for me that Srila Prabhupada wrote these books, the BBT published these books, the book distributors are distributing these books, and devotees, even in the midst of such health crisis and challenges, have the enthusiasm to study these books so deeply. So I want to dedicate my class to all those who are involved in the Shastric education, inspiring devotees to study Srila Prabhupada's books deeply. This particular verse is on a similar theme where Srila Prabhupada mentions that both Vidura and Uddhava are in separation from Krishna, but they are seeing Krishna through the transcendental sound vibration. How to see Krishna in the transcendental sound vibration? From the different cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll just take you through this consistent theme that Krishna is present in the form of his transcendental sound. All of us are tested in our duties. The kind of duties we perform, the confidence with which we perform our duties depends on three things. Steadiness of our identity. Based on the identity we have, we become aware of our responsibility. And to the extent we are steady in our identity and aware of our responsibility, there can be consistency in our activity. So, our duties are functions of our identity, responsibility, and our activity. And many times we go through challenges and difficulties. And when such challenges and difficulties manifest, consistently we see that the devotees take shelter of the transcendental sound vibration. Parikshit Maharaj in the first canto has been cursed to die in 7 days and 7 nights, and he is sitting with the sages around him, and he says, Tammopayantam pratiyantu vipra. All the sages who are present here, Ganga cha Devi Dhritachittamishe, including Mother Ganga, who is the witness to this. Dvijopasrishta kuhakas takshakova. May that snake bird takshak come and bite me. Dashatvalam gayata Vishnu gatha. Materialistic person and a spiritualist are different on one very important principle. Materialist is one who's afraid, terrorized because of fear of destruction of their body. destruction of the body, the possibility of the destruction of the body terrorizes the materialist. But for a spiritualist becomes more fearful not because of destruction of the body, but because of the distraction of the mind. And that's what Parikshit is saying. Dashatvalam gayata Vishnu Gatha. You just continue speaking the Harikatha because I meet Krishna in that transcendental sound. And by chance, if my mind does get distracted and I have to take birth again, when I come in front of their lordships, the deities, these are the three prayers I ask. And Srila Prabhupada writes that these are the prayers one should pray for when we come and stand in front of the deities. Punascha bhuyat bhagavati anantarati. May I develop unlimited attraction towards you, my dear Lord. Rati prasangascha tadashrayeshu. Such unlimited attraction is only possible in the association of devotees. Without the Vaishnava's grace, the flow of our mind's desire cannot be towards the Lord's lotus feet. Mahatsuyamyam upayami srishtim maitrayastu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. And when we are blessed by the devotees, then we develop compassion within our heart to share this message with others. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us three principles: Name Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva, Jibe Daya. Name Ruchi is aspiration to serve. When we chant the holy name, we offer our prayer that I want to serve you, my dear Lord. Vaishnav Seva is actions to serve. And when we perform service and please the devotees and are blessed by the devotees, then we are blessed with an overwhelming desire to give access to other souls to serve. And therefore, the common theme amongst all the three, Name Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva and Jive Daya, is service. Aspiration to serve, action to serve, and access to serve. And therefore, Parikshit Maharaj uses this opportunity, which seems to be like an adversity, as an opportunity for his prosperity, spiritual prosperity. And he says, Tasyaiva meghasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya grihesha bhikshnam. Yes, this is a disaster which has happened. At the peak of youth, I am going to die in 7 days and 7 nights. But I do not see this as a distressful situation. I see this as a great fortune. Because if this curse had not come, nirveda mulo dvijashapa rupo, the curse through Shringi has been given and pronounced upon me to uproot all of my attachments. Yatra prasakto bhayam ashudhatte. And because of that fear, I have renounced my kingdom and I am taking shelter of the association of devotees to hear this Harikatha. And therefore, Mahavipattav samsare, in the midst of great disaster, Yaha smaret Madhusudana, one who takes shelter of Lord Madhusudan, Vipattav tasya sampatti, his vipatti or distress or disaster becomes the cause of his greatest sampatti or prosperity. And so here, Maharaj Parikshit is aspiring to hear from the devotees, and in comes Shukadeva Goswami at that very moment. And when Maharaj Parikshit sees Shukadeva Goswami, and he has not even asked for someone of that caliber to manifest in front of me, Maharaj Parikshit is overwhelmed with emotion. And he is saying, my dear Lord, O Shukadeva Goswami, you are not present here because of my qualification. It is not that because I am so qualified, I am a great devotee because of which you have come here. No. Your presence here is simply the grace bestowed upon me by my family members, by my grandfathers, the Pandavas. Api me Bhagavan Prita, the Lord Krishna loved Krishna Pandusuta Priya loved the Pandavas. He had such deep affection for the Pandavas, for my grandfather, Arjuna. Paitra Satsevya Prityartham, and just because I come in that same lineage, I come in the same family, I am getting that benefit. Yad Gotrasyata Bandhava. My only qualification is I am in some way, shape, or form connected to great souls. And because of my connection with great personalities, great Vaishnavas, upon whom Krishna has his grace, I am also getting that benefit. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, many times when people take to Krishna consciousness, people question, how are you benefiting your family through this? And many times we see that when people in India, they go to so many other temples, family members have no problem. But when they start coming to an ISKCON temple regularly, they become worried. Why? Yad gatva na nivartante. The person comes out totally changed. Habits change, so many things change. So when I became a devotee and my family was like not very sure what was going on, so I organized a whole program for like many of my cousins and my uncles and aunts, and I took a devotee from the temple to give a lecture. And this devotee quoted from the 7th canto that anyone who becomes a devotee in the family, 21 generations are liberated. So after the lecture, a cousin came to me and said, continue chanting Hare Krishna. And he said, if you have any problem, let me know. So Prabhupada mentions that when we are able to transform our consciousness and attract Krishna's grace, using our material abilities, we can only support our family till the end of this life. But when we take to Krishna consciousness, we attract Krishna's oversight over several generations. And therefore, Maharaj Parikshit takes shelter of transcendental sound when he is in the situation of distress. So the 2nd canto begins with Shukadeva Goswami explaining to Maharaj Parikshit that Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma, in this particular situation where you are facing death, please take shelter of that Supreme Lord who is the Paramatma in everybody's heart. Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari, one who is full of all opulences. He is a supreme controller, one who has the power to take away, evaporate people's distresses. Shrotavya, Kirtitavya, Smartavyascha, by hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. What will happen? One will become free from fear. And therefore, you should engage in this activity. And so Shukadeva Goswami, when he begins his speech, before he begins explaining the details of the Bhagavatam, he offers prayer to the Lord that may the Lord manifest within my heart and empower my tongue. Bhutair mahadbhir ya ima puro vibhu. The Supreme Lord has created this material world with multiple elements. And those elements comprise of my body and also Parikshit's body. And my service is to help Parikshit attain liberation at this stage. Nirmaya shete yad amushu purusha. That Supreme Lord is also within his heart. Bhunkte gunan shodasha shodashatmakam. The soul is trapped within this body of material existence. And therefore, Vedanta Desika gives this example that apart from being the goddess of fortune, the example can also be given that as long as Sita was absorbed in serving Lord Ram, nothing could touch her. But the moment her mind became distracted towards the golden deer, so when the jiva becomes distracted, at that time, the mind in the form of Ravana with 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas comes and captures the soul and places the soul within the body of Lanka, which is trapped within the material samsara. And at that situation, Lord Ram in a relationship situation is bewildered whether Sita has gone off on her own or she has been kidnapped. And when we are not sure of a relationship, why the relationship is broken, we require a mediator. And that mediator comes in the form of a Vanara Sena, because Vanara means monkey. Vanara, Nara means human being. Vanara means there is a doubt. The monkey is so human-like in their behavior. When you look at a monkey, you ask a question, is it monkey or human? Like in Vrindavan, they'll take away your spectacles and then you have to give fruity. Only then they give you back. So Vanara means one who looks very human, but is actually an animal. But the other purport of Vanara is one who looks human, but is actually divine. Saksha dharitvena samasta shastrair. They are also, Vanara means they look human, but they actually carry divinity. And therefore the army of the Vaishnavas, led by the Guru, Hanumanji, they are actually able to give the message to Sita Devi, the message of Lord Ram, and reconnect both. So the Vaishnava army has been empowered with this task of giving the message of the Lord to the conditioned souls and bring them back to the spiritual world. And therefore, in the second canto, this is emphasized where Parikshit is again repeating, Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam. The Srimad Bhagavatam must be heard and studied how? With faith. Shraddhaya Nityam, every day. Granatascha Swacheshtitam, and one has to perform, one has to give one's effort to that, not mechanically. Kalena na atidirghena, and in due course of time, very soon, Bhagavan Vrishate Hrdi, the Lord will manifest within one's heart and transform one's heart. And so, even if there are misgivings in the heart of a devotee, and even if the devotee is having anarthas which is stopping the steady flow of bhakti, bhakti which should flow like the flow of honey, which we see on the abhishek of the lordships, the honey flows in a smooth pattern, and that is how our desire should flow in serving the Lord, but sometimes it may not happen like that. But what is the solution? Pravishta karnarandrena, you hear and let the sound vibration enter through the ears. Swanam bhava saroruham, and that sound vibration will enable the blossoming of the consciousness within the heart. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna, and all of the anarthas within the heart are gradually dissipated. Salilasya yathashara, just like the autumn season, during the autumn season, the muddiness within that water is removed and the water becomes very clear. In the Ramayana, when Lord Ram kills Vali and then he tells Sugriva that 4 months of the Chaturmas I will stay in Malyavant Parvat, and then you bring the army after that, and then we will embark on a campaign and search for Sita. And Sugriva also says, yes, I am separated from my family for a long time. Give me some time to recuperate my energies and I'll join you. So Lord Ram and Lakshmana are sitting on top of that Malyavant Parvat waiting, and there is no news from Sugriva. And Ramayana describes that as Lord Ram is seeing the drops of water falling in the rainy season, each drop of that water reminds Lord Ram of the tears flowing from Sita's eyes. And Lord Ram is in great separation, is in great distress. And he becomes more and more impatient, and he starts asking Lakshman, Sugriva was supposed to come. What happened? Why is he not here? And Lakshman says he must have become absorbed in sense gratification. What can be done? So Lord Ram says, my dear Lakshman, I am becoming extremely impatient. I want you to go and give a message to Sugriva. And Ram is very angry. And Lakshman is also surprised, because usually he is the one who's angry. Here Ram is angry. And Lakshman says, my dear Lord, what is the message? And Lord Ram says, Yena sankuchita pantha yena vali hatogata samaye tishta Sugriva ma vali hatamanvagaha. Go and inform Sugriva, my dear Lakshman, that the road through which we sent Vali to the abode of death That road is still open. Lakshman says, why give message? I'll go and kill Sugriva only. Ram says, no, don't go beyond that. Just give message. So Lakshman goes and threatens Sugriva with this message. Sugriva comes running and surrenders to Lord Ram. Lord Ram embraces him, forgives him, and gives him the responsibility of leading this entire army. And therefore, the Acharyas give the understanding that yes, Sugriva got distracted. Sugriva forgot about his duties temporarily. But Lord Ram did not hold it against him, and although he was distracted and indulged in sense gratification and forgot his duties, but Lord Ram gave him the opportunity to purify himself again by offering him that service. So therefore, it is described that bhumau skhalita padanam bhumirevavalambanam. When someone is walking on ground and he slips and falls on the ground, one may wonder, I fell down and slipped because of the ground. How will I get up? One has to take shelter of the same ground. Tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabhu. Similarly, while performing devotional service, when we commit some offense or there is some challenge, whose shelter do we take? We have to take shelter of devotional service only. And therefore, in the third canto, this same principle is described in the Vidura Maitreya Samvad. Ekanta labham vachasonu pumsam. The success of speech is sushloka mauler gunavadam ahu. To be able to speak Harikatha, and the success of ears is to shrutescha vidvadbhir upakritayam katha sudhayam upasamprayogam. When the ears are able to hear Harikatha, one is actually seeing Krishna through that speaking and through that hearing. And so Maitreya tells Vidura, Tathapi kirtayami anga. I am not speaking this katha because I am very intelligent or I am very learned or knowledgeable. I am only repeating this because yathamati, yathashrutam, based on how much I can remember and what I have heard. Kirtim harer swam satkartum, because as long as I speak Krishna katha, giram anyabida asatim, I prevent my tongue from speaking prajalpa and deviating. So therefore, I am only speaking as part of my sadhana for my own purification, because Krishna is manifest through Krishna Katha. And therefore, when Lord Kapila, before Lord Kapila is born, when Kardam Muni is about to leave Devahuti, Mother Devahuti tells Kardam Muni, Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirthapada sevaya jivan apimrtopisa. She says, if one's karma does not lead to one's dharma, and dharma does not lead to vairagya, and vairagya does not lead to bhakti, then all of one's efforts are useless. And she says, I really feel that I was extremely unfortunate. Why? Because if someone comes to Krishna consciousness, he is fortunate. But if someone comes to Krishna consciousness and doesn't take its full advantage and leaves, that is very unfortunate. And she says, because I missed the opportunity which I received through your association, I missed that opportunity. I could not take the spiritual shelter which I should have taken. So I am very unfortunate. Sayam Bhagavata Nunam Vanchito Mayaya Dridam. So Prabhupada says in this purport, in his translation, Devahuti is saying, I have been solidly cheated by Maya. Mayaya Dridham. Solidly cheated. Why? Yattat vimuktidam prapyana mumukshaya bandhanad. I got the opportunities for liberation, but I did not take that association seriously. The privilege was there, the opportunity was there, but I did not use the opportunity of the association of devotees to be absorbed in my sadhana. to be consistent in my seva and to be sensitive in my dealings with the devotees, and therefore I lost this opportunity. And therefore, Krishna consciousness is meant for transforming our heart, and that's what the Sangha is meant to be. The Sangha is meant to create heart transformation. Devotees were distributing books, and this was in the early 70s, and there was a very famous book which had been released at that time by a very famous psychologist or psychiatrist, and the name of the book was I Am Okay, You're Okay. And the devotees came to Srila Prabhupada and told him, when we go to distribute Bhagavad Gita, people are asking on the street, no, we don't want Gita, we want I am okay, you are okay. What should we respond? Prabhupada said, show them the Gita and tell them this Gita is I am okay, you are not okay. And you need to be transformed through this process. So the Gita very simply encapsulates 5 principles: Ishwar, Jeev, Prakriti, Kala and Karma. When the Jiva is looking to exploit Prakriti under the influence of Kala and engages in Karma, that is called Bhoga. And Bhoga, or the tendency to demonstrate proprietorship and enjoyership, results in the experience of Chinta or anxiety. And when too much of anxiety happens, and then when such a person has the piety and gets the association of devotees, then he starts looking up that, oh, maybe I am not the controller, there is another controller. Then his vision goes towards Ishvara. And when one looks at the Ishvara and starts connecting with the Ishvara, that is known as yoga. And so the experience with yoga is what is known as Chintan or contemplation or meditation. And that's what Srila Prabhupada has why created the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to help the souls connect with Ishvara. Ishvara, Parama, Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So Prabhupada mentions in the Mrida Bhakshan Leela where Krishna is eating the dirt and Yashodama is unable to understand why this is happening. So Prabhupada says there are many problems we will go through in life where we will not be able to trace the origin of that. Why exactly this problem I am going through? But he says, even if you can't trace that origin, know that the cause of all causes is Krishna. And therefore, let me tolerate this and take shelter of Krishna. And that is through the taking shelter of the transcendental sound vibration. And that transcendental sound vibration is what transforms our consciousness. In the 4th canto, in the Dhruv Maharaj pastime, he is going through tremendous distress. He is frustrated. He comes to his mother, and the mother sends him to the forest. And in the forest, he meets Shripad Narad Muni. And Narad Muni gives him shelter of the transcendental sound vibration. And he gives him the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mantrenanena devasya. This mantra, Kurya Dravyamayi Buddha, has to be chanted along with worshipping the deities with simple dravya. Desha Kala Vibhagavit, as per time, place and circumstance. Kurya Dravyamayi Buddha, Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair. Whatever is easily available, use those dravya and serve their lordships in this forest, but focused on the chanting of the holy names. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that Dhruva attained success because of his absorption in the instruction given by Narad Muni. He was not thinking about all the distress he went through. He was totally absorbed in that entire situation, and he was totally focused on how he can chant this mantra to the best possible ability. And so at that point, Srila Prabhupada says, Dhruva became focused on the personal form of the Lord. The Lord is personal, and many times when people go through distress and difficulty, there is a tendency to lose faith in Lord, in God. And many times people become atheists in such situations. Vitaraga bhaya krodha. In the Bhagavad Gita is described that one aspect of krodha is why I am going through this situation. But when Dhruva went through this situation, his faith in the Lord increased thanks to the intervention of Narada Muni. So therefore, the Lord is a person with feelings, with the ability to intervene and place difficulties in our life and then remove the difficulties depending on what kind of treatment he wants to give us in our spiritual journey. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada in the early 70s was in Amritsar, and there was some kind of a sadhu sammelan, and the repeated theme everybody was saying was God is impersonal and everything is one. And Prabhupada just got up and started walking out. And so Gurudas Prabhu suddenly said, "Where are you going? You're supposed to be the next speaker." Prabhupada said, "No, you give the lecture. I'm going." He said, "But Prabhupada, I'm very new and these are all very experienced people." Prabhupada said, "The level at which discussion is going on, whatever you know is more than enough." So he just went, and then when Gurudas Prabhu took the podium, he said, "You're saying everything is one, but how can everything be one? Is Rasgulla the sweet same as stool on the street?" You're saying everything is one. Can your wife become somebody else's wife? And these examples were like so stunning. These sadhus came to Prabhupada and started complaining that your disciple is, speaking very harsh. And Prabhupada called Gurudas and said, what did you say? And he said, "I was just giving example, Prabhupada. They were all saying everything is one, everything is one." So I said, "Rasgulla is a sweet, it is not equal to stool on the street." So Prabhupada turned to those sadhus and said, my Western disciples, they give very graphic examples. So you don't feel offended. And when they left, Prabhupada turned to Gurudas Prabhu, and what was that example? Stool on the street, Rasgulla the sweet. Excellent example. And therefore, the tendency when we go through difficulties is to become impersonal. Whereas Dhruva, in the presence of Narad Muni, became more attracted and enchanted to the personal form of the Lord, understanding that yes, the Lord is a person with unlimited compassion within his heart. And Prabhupada writes that the Lord has the compassion of millions of mothers. And that's what Dhruva's mother told him, that you take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And so when Lord Vishnu comes in front of Dhruva, Lord Prishnigarbha manifests in front of Dhruva. Dhruva offers his prayers and he says, "Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam." My senses were all sleeping, but because of your presence, Sanjivaya takhila shakti dhara swadamna, by your transcendental touch, my senses have become enlivened. Anyam stahasta charana shravana tvagadin, all of my knowledge acquiring senses, working senses, they have all been enlivened by you. Because that's what happens when we come and take darshan of the deities. When we come in front of the deities, there is the glance of the deities. Chandrika Vishidasme Resa Aruna Apanga Bhikshitai. The reddish complexion eyes of the Lord creates transcendental desires within the devotee's heart to serve. And then, when the desire to serve comes and the devotee starts serving, challenges come, difficulties come, and the devotee may feel helpless. Then when he glances on the smile of the Lord, when the devotee takes darshan of the smile of the smile of the Lord is reassuring the devotee that you may be helpless in this situation, don't be hopeless. Continue your service, continue practicing, and know that I am with you. And therefore, Dhruva Maharaj also, took shelter of the transcendental sound vibration. Then we come to the fifth canto, and in the fifth canto we see the example of how Bharat Maharaj, having reached up to the stage of Mahabhagavat, suddenly went through a deviation. Why? Because he allowed an object to affect his absorption. His absorption in the transcendental sound was affected. And so when we hear the Bharat Maharaj pastime, we may think, I am neither in the forest, nor I have deers around, so I am safe. We may not have deers, but we have smartphones around. And we have all other kinds of things which can distract us. And therefore, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that the pastime of Bharat Maharaj demonstrates that one can become distracted at any moment. And the distraction is basically when there is a barrier between the sadhaka and the sadhaka's access to transcendental sound. And we should never think that we are beyond the shelter of the devotees' mercy and the devotees' instructions and the devotees' orders. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished his South India tour, he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but the devotees stopped him. Yadyapi Swatantra Prabhu Nahe Nivaran. Although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was supremely independent, nobody could stop him. But Bhakta Ichha Vina Prabhu Na Kore Gaman. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to overstep the boundary of Bhakta Ichha, that I should act within the devotees' desires and with their permission and blessings. So Lord Chaitanya leaves from Puri and then goes via Bengal, and when he meets Sanatan Goswami tells him, my dear Lord, you are surrounded by millions of people. This is not good. Durgama, Durjana say Nirjana Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a very secluded place which requires a lot of meditation and contemplation. Ekaki jaiba kiba songe ekajan. Go alone, not with millions of people. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes back again to Puri. And then only on Dashara 1515, he starts via Jharikanda forest to go to Vrindavan. And then when he is in the Jharikanda forest, all alone with Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he is telling him that Sanatana Mukhe Krishna Ama Shikhaila, I came through this forest path and not through the regular highway. Why? Because Krishna has given me lesson through Sanatan Goswami. So Lord Chaitanya is not telling Sanatan Goswami, destroyed my plan. I had so many plans, it was finished because of Sanatan. No. Sanatana Mukhe Krishna Ama Shikhaila. Sanatan was only an instrument and Krishna is teaching me through him. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya looks at Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Nobody is around, only him and Balabhadra Bhattacharya are together. And Lord Chaitanya reveals the happiness formula. And he says, Kripara samudra dina hine dayamoy, Krishna kripa vina kona sukha nahi hoy. He says, it is not that my plans and my ability to fulfill my plans is the cause of happiness. The cause of happiness is if anything happens in my life, I am able to see that as the will of the Lord, as the mercy of the Lord for my benefit. And I am able to align my desire with the Lord's desire. Krishna kripa vina kona sukha nahi hoy. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating the way to enter Vrindavan is when we align our desire with the desire of the Lord. So the first thing when we actually encounter association of devotees is Shastra, which is the Word of God. The Word of God is Shastra. And when we see the Shastra, it is difficult to follow. It's not easy. So to follow Shastra, the Word of God is difficult. But more difficult to follow than the Word of God is to follow the will of a devotee. because the will of the devotee is more dynamic. Shastra, you can, close the book and keep it. You know it is there, but still, the words don't jump out. But the devotee can intervene actively, ask questions. Why you are doing this? Why you are doing that? So more difficult is to follow the will of the devotee. But most difficult is to deal with the whim of Krishna. So how Krishna will intervene in certain ways is impossible to understand. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he enters Vrindavan, for 2 months, he is spending his time in Vrindavan in deep ecstasy. He doesn't want to leave Vrindavan. But then Balabhadra Bhattacharya, his servant, he comes to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he says that, my dear Lord, I am extremely distressed. Balabhadra Bhattacharya is serving ecstasy personified, Lord Chaitanya, and he is distressed personified himself. He is in close contact with ecstasy, but he himself is in distress. And Lord Chaitanya looks at him and he says, why? And he says, every day people are coming with invitations for lunch and forcing me that why you are not sending Lord Chaitanya to my house. And they are coming searching for you here in Akrur Ghat, and you are sitting there in Imlitala, and they are all accusing me that I am hiding you. And so Balabhadra Bhattacharya says, my dear Lord, Pratidin loka aise tomare na paye, tomare na paye loka mora matha khaye. People are coming and bewildering me with their complaints. Udvigna hoila prana sohitena pari. And my mind is so bewildered, so distressed. I cannot tolerate anymore. Let us go from here and go to Prayag, Magh Mela in January. That is better. So, Lord Chaitanya wanted to come alone to Vrindavan. The devotees in Puri forced him, take some servant with you. So it was not Lord Chaitanya's desire to bring Balabhadra Bhattacharya. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya says, I am in distress. So Lord Chaitanya could have told him, okay, you go. And you leave me alone. Yadyapi Vrindavan tyage nahi prabhurman bhakta ichha purite kohe madhur vachan. Lord Chaitanya had no desire to leave Vrindavan, but bhakta ichha purite. In order to please his devotees, Lord Chaitanya agreed. Because he realized that one actually experiences Vrindavan in the mood of serving and pleasing the devotees. And that was his mood when he left Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus demonstrate this most important principle of how all of us take shelter of Krishna and his devotees by chanting the holy names. And by the chanting of the holy names, like Ajamil in the 6th canto, about to die, and he chants the names of Narayan and is protected from the Yamadutas. And then when he is given a reprieve, a second chance, he is glorifying the Lord. Kva chaham kitaba prapa brahmagna nirapatrapa kvacha narayanetyeti bhagavan nama mangalam. My dear Lord, you are so elevated, I am so fallen still. You have protected me. You are so pure, you are so compassionate. You do not do any background check before allowing somebody your shelter. And that's what Vibhishana also, when he comes in front of Lord Ram, he says, Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Swasutaya Mahatmane. He says, my dear Lord, O Raghav, Raghavaya Mahatmane, you give shelter to the entire universe. Sarva loka sharanyaya. Nivedayatamam kshipram. Quickly give me shelter. Vibhishanam upasthitam. So Vibhishana is saying, give me shelter quickly. So the acharyas are debating, why is he saying quickly? Vibhishana is saying, the desire to take shelter of the Lord and surrender to the Lord, it can dissipate instantly if you are not careful. That desire to serve and surrender is a very, very rare asset. And we should not take it for granted, because the speed with which that desire has come, it can go also. And therefore Vibhishana comes with 4 associates, and these 4 associates represent the 4 limbs of surrender. The first is that saralta, simplicity, shakti. Second, which is, the power, the Lord is supremely powerful. The third is there is absolutely nothing I have, and the Lord is everything for me. So these are the 4 aspects of surrender, and in this way Vibhishan comes there and takes shelter of the Lord, and the Lord gives him that shelter because he sees that Vibhishana is very, very sincere. Because Vibhishana means one who can create terror. What kind of terror he creates? He creates terror in the heart of Ravana. The entire gold in Ravana, the entire gold in Lanka, Ravana cannot use to shut up Vibhishan. And that is what makes Ravana so terrified, that Vibhishana is integrity personified, and therefore I cannot handle him. So Lord Ram respects the integrity of Vibhishan and offers him that shelter and says, even if one does not see the Lord, but if one simply comes and offers prayer to me, Sakradeva prapannoyas, and says, Tava asmi iti yache, I am yours. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. Such a person can become fearless. Dadami etat vratam mama. And this is my vrata. This is my vow. And therefore here, Vidura is in separation from Krishna. Uddhava is in separation from Krishna. Both are in great separation from Krishna. But they are taking shelter in Krishna through Krishna Katha. Right? So Prabhupada was in Kumbh Mela, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj came running to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, there is a big debate happening. Prabhupada said, what is the debate? Says, Madhudvisha Prabhu is saying that the difference between Krishna and Balram is Krishna is black and Balram is white. Prabhupada said, he is right. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Yamuna Devi, she is saying that the difference between Krishna and Balram is only Krishna enjoys with Radharani, not Balram. Prabhupada said, she is right. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, both are saying 2 different things. How can both be right? Prabhupada said, you are right. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, what is the right answer? Prabhupada said, you decide. And then Prabhupada said, sometimes people call me Prabhupada, but treat me like problem pad. So yes, the Shastras have all the answers, but we can either approach the Shastra and keep searching for problems in the Shastra and contradictions in the Shastra and never go anywhere based on intellectual gymnastics. But the way this chapter is revealing how to take shelter of Shastra is by following the right etiquette, where Uddhava is directing Vidura to go and take shelter of Maitreya. And with that etiquette, with that sensitivity, with absorption in our sadhana, consistency in seva, and sensitivity in our dealings and Vaishnava seva, we can actually transform our heart and spread Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories all over the world and make Srila Prabhupada proud. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. And since we have meeting starting at 9:45, so I seek permission to leave without a question answer session. Hare Krishna.
Jai His Grace, Gauranga Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki